Welcome to Trenchometry. If you've spent any time in or around the trenches, playing offensive line isn't just blocking. It is chess at light speed. You're controlling angles while a 280-pound defender tries to destroy your running back. Every snap, calculating leverage, mirroring footwork, and anchoring against pure violence. Miss one step and your franchise player gets flattened. We're here to discuss the most undervalued aspect of the game of football, the offensive line. Remember, you master the trenches, you win the war. My guest today is a Texas boy from Round Rock High School in Round Rock, Texas. He would begin his collegiate career at Trinity Valley Community College before moving to the University of Arkansas Monticello, where he would play all 5 positions along the line. He would then move into the professional ranks with the Iowa Barnstormers in the IFL. He's completed his rookie season and looks forward to another season leading the Barnstormers up front. I'd like to welcome to Trenchometry, Mr. Tyler Castaneda. Welcome, Tyler.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Blessed to
This
be
is
here.
exciting, man. You're the second guy I've interviewed from the Indoor Football League. It's kind of starting to become a trend for me here. I'm enjoying it.
Well, yes, sir. I love it.
So, faster game in there inside, right?
But yeah, extremely more quicker. A lot of flat sets, more quicker sets. Those old school Howard Mudd sets, set flatter, set flatter,
Excellent.
set quick,
So,
set quicker. Yes, sir.
so take me back to coming out of Round Rock High School there in Texas. Did you envision yourself playing indoor football at some point in your life? What was the career? The career goal at one point is play professionally. I'm assuming, right? That's like all
Yeah.
football players kind of have that dream, that goal. So talk me through how that came to happen, came to fruition there.
So out of high school, I started out as a 4-star athlete. I was committed to Texas Tech University as a sophomore. I went against Marvin Wilson at Rivals Camp. My first rep, I overset. He spun inside. My second rep, I just learned the jump set to hop. And so when I hopped, he went down and I beat him. So I got my ranking there. Out of high school, I didn't have the grades to go D1. So I went junior college route. And that was ultimately where my mindset was. And, I had to switch that mentality in order to go back to school when I went back to Arkansas Monticello as a 2-year non. So I went to JUCO in 2017 and 2018, and then 19 stopped going to school. 20 was COVID year, and then 21 I went back.
Excellent.
And so I definitely saw myself going the highest that I could take myself, playing in the NFL. I still believe that I can take that route and do the best that I can and continue to be the best version of myself in all aspects of training, mentality when it comes to the vitamins and supplements, the nutrition, and even accessory work for mobility, stability, balance, explosion, grip strength, and core strength, and getting all the specific training for offensive line technique, and make sure your strength and conditioning, hitting every single aspect that needs to be trained for. And so those is the difference maker in my mentality from when I went back to college and then when I was in high school. So that dream of playing in the league, playing the NFL, I definitely had that full circle moment of starting my college career. I actually started at Ellsworth Community College before going to Trinity Valley in 2017. So I started my college career in Iowa and then started my professional career in Iowa as well. So it was a full circle moment for that. And then a crazy story, in 2021, right before I went back to school, I was actually in the Kurt Warner movie. My older brother and I, my older
Cool.
brother, Robert Castaneda, he played at Utah State and Texas Tech. Also went to Ellsworth Community College when he bounced back from Texas Tech to Utah State. He was in the movie as well. And so, I played for the Barnstormers in the movie, and then now I'm playing for the Barnstormers in real life.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Been a bunch of full circle moments, and so that's the dream. Yes, sir.
You mentioned something that's intriguing there. You said grip strength. Tell me about your
Yeah,
grip
yeah.
strength routine there. That's most guys don't really focus on that aspect of their game and developing that, making that stronger.
100%. So like a lot of forearm strengths, rice bucket stuff, gripping the rice bucket, doing a lot of farmer carry holds, doing like 50 yards down and back, 2 sets with accessory work, paired with like shoulder stuff, necks and trap, collar work, like rotational hip to hand strength. And all this stuff is that I've learned from Jared Valdir and his lineman vault. The Valdir lineman vault is probably the top tier training out there. Like he's played in the league for 12 years. He's done it all. He has everything on there when it comes to film breakdown, when it comes to the nutrition plans, when it comes to one-on-one coaching, all the workout plans, and pretty much everything that's set in stone in there for you and for any athlete to, go in there and check out his subscription, his page. And so it's really elevated my game, my mentality. And I've started with, I don't know if you ever heard of the Cool Clinic.
Yes.
Big time. I love the Cool Clinic.
Yeah.
Coach Tube, Scott Peters, Tip of the Spear, Paul Alexander. He has a Patreon. account where he gives out knowledge. And Jim McNally, he's
Oh yeah.
always on Twitter. But he has all his cool clinic stuff and just learning from all these different stuff. And because O line is a lot of reassuring what you already know.
Hmm.
And there's multiple ways to skin a cat. So I'm not going to be stuck in one way. I'm going to learn all the ways that I can and continue to have that mentality of an elementary school kid who's still continuing to learn, no matter how advanced I am. And just keep an eye open, keeping that mentality of just being the best version of myself I can and spreading the knowledge and learning the knowledge as well at the same time.
That's awesome. Like I always talk about putting tools in the toolbox of my players.
Yep.
When they
It's
go out
very
on the
good.
field,
Arsenal.
the more in our arsenal, the more tools they have in their toolbox, then when it comes to a problem, one of those tools isn't working, then you have 2 or 3 or 4, maybe even 5 or 6. The good guys have 6, 7 tools that they can fall back on and use at any one point during a game when they find a challenge, when that guy across from them is bigger, stronger, faster, or smarter or more experienced, whatever the issue is, he's putting a challenge on you. And if you can go 5, 6, 7 tools deep into your toolbox, then that's a good deal to have.
Yep. Like a
I
chess match.
Yeah, absolutely. The I've seen Jared on, he's all over the place. He has all sorts of things. I saw something the other day. He's talking about trying to develop a shoe for the wide toe box of the
Yeah.
shoe so that your feet aren't all squished up. So he's got his hands in
Oh yeah.
everything there
That's
trying to
genius.
improve
Yep.
improve offensive line play from the get-go. So the bouncing around from going from community college, and then heading out to the bigger school. What'd you learn at that point? Was that just a discovery, the journey, discovering yourself and kind of finding your way on the path on how to get things done so that you can be successful?
Yeah, wholeheartedly doing things the right way they're supposed to be done, when they're supposed to be done. A lot of things that Nick Saban talks about, just having that Mamba mentality, like Kobe
Mhm.
Bryant, 1% better each day, striving to do the right things and be a good person. Just ultimately find all the things that are holding me back and take it away and enforce the things that are going to be moving me forward. Because we all have our own train tracks of life. You got to keep your train tracks moving. And I always say relentlessly strive to dominate adversity. And you keep moving forward and you keep getting back up. You gotta fall to rise. Fall down 7, stand up 8.
That's right. It's not getting knocked down, it's getting back up. I like that. Okay, so as you get ready to go into your second season in the IFL. You had a learning curve that rookie year. I'm assuming that you have to figure out how to go about playing in the league, right? You got all these little things that you
100%.
have
Yes,
no
sir.
idea what you don't know, and now you get to go into it with your eyes open a little bit better and have some anticipation and expectations coming. What were some of the things that you encountered that you weren't expecting that rookie season that kind of caught you off guard or you had to adjust to?
Yeah, so I initially signed with the San Diego Strike Force. I went out there in camp. I made it all the way through camp. It was a week before the first game. It was down to me and a DB. I was a rookie in camp, and that's just how it goes at the professional league. You can get thrown out there, and in first week of camp, you get cut. And if you're not prepared, you're not ready. That's how it goes. And so I
Mhm.
made sure I was prepared, and so I prepared myself. I went out there in camp. I was in rotation. I was the only O lineman that was playing both guards and center out there, and so I prided myself in that, and I kept asking questions from all the older guys that were there, and just playing my heart out. And got down to that last moment. I got traded to the Iowa Barnstormers, and so they wanted me to play within the next 6 days. So I had
Mm,
to. I was on the plane, learning the playbook, studying it, writing down in my journal, writing all the plays down to every defensive front, because this was the first year that they were allowed the twist game in arena.
mm,
It was a rule that you weren't allowed to twist and bring certain backers, and so that was a good adjustment for linemen now who are fresh out of college that know how to pick up twists and know how to stay square and pass pro and set flat, because you can't really set vertical in this game. It's difficult. Although that's what they were teaching us with the Barnstormers with Dave Mogetson. He had that air raid offense and he wanted us to kind of set back. And so I listened to him and I trusted everything, because I want to be coachable and I want to do what the offense entails. So going into that transition was, in just another chance for me to improve, my mental prowess and everything that I'm able to achieve and overcome. And so I came in that first game. I went against a Ole Miss guy. He played 3 seasons at Ole Miss for 36 games, and so
mm.
it was. I studied a little bit of his film from Ole Miss. He was a rookie too, and so I know my opponent. I'm gonna study. I'm gonna have a plan, and so it's set, strike, counter, anchor, and I'm not gonna do too much. I'm gonna do what Howard Mudd teaches: do a few things extraordinarily well. And so I
Mhm.
know that I'm gonna have my independent hands. I'm gonna have my pillar. I'm gonna have my clamp and my under, and my refit, and then my my hop as my, anchor point, my anchor ability. And so I had that plan. I went in there and I graded out at 90% that first game. And then my first play as a Barnstormer, it was a touchdown, a long ball. We were on our own like three, and it was first play. And so I was, it was awesome. It was against Quad City. But it was a tough season. We went 1-15,
Oh,
but I got to compete. So
yeah.
regardless of what it is, we had some guys on our team, like one of our guys, Keon Williams. He got picked up by the UFL. He was with the Memphis Showboats. I know they had just folded, so that was extremely unfortunate. But man, he was that dude, triple crown receiver. Dude was like that. I'm talking kick returning, just being able to get open in space and routes and just be that guy you can turn to. And so just transitioning from that game of outdoor football to indoor football was a difference too. I had to really learn the game. The flow of the game was just
Right.
way faster. You can go out there for 3 plays, defense gets a stop, you're back out there for another six, and it's just boom, boom, boom. Like it's just back to back drives. And so I think adjusting to that was something that I really love to do because, like I said, relentlessly striving to dominate adversity and just learning from that, adapting to that, just helped me become better ultimately.
How is your during the day, what's the daytime ritual like for you guys? I know I talked to one of the guys I've talked to before. They talked about some of the guys have jobs and they work jobs and then they're practicing at night. Was that something you were doing? Did you hold down a job in addition to the football playing, or were you just training and focusing on film
Yeah.
study and waiting until practice started?
So when I was in this season, I wasn't working. Our morning routine was pretty much I wake up every morning at 4:47. I get, neuromuscular patterns, kind of a battle rhythm going, get my
Hold on,
breakfast and
Tyler. Hold on,
nutrition
hold
in.
on. Let's go back to that one real quick. You said
Yes, sir.
4:47. Why that time?
47, yeah. It just says 5 a.m. I started, and then it was just like I'm just gonna kind of go earlier and earlier and just get more time in there. And that's just kind of just a number I've seen 47, and so I just made it that
Okay, all
number,
right.
and that's
So
the
that
long spot.
it wasn't like a lucky play or something that you had that you have to get up at four. You
Nah,
said
nah, no,
specifically
sir.
4:47. It's just a random, like a very specific random time. Now it's funny because I kind of relate to that. I wake up at 5:07. No particular reason. I just didn't
Okay.
want to
Yes,
wake up
sir.
at. I didn't want to wake up at 5, and I didn't want to sleep until 5:15. So I just kind of cut it in the middle there. But all right, so I interrupted. Go back to 4:47. You're getting out of bed, and go from there.
So pretty much like 4:47, like I'll hang out in bed for a good like 15 minutes and kind of just sit there, sit up and reflect and meditate and think on my thoughts and just be thankful for life and thankful for everything that I have and kind of reflect on what I want to get done with my day and the goals that I have set and my list and go through that and kind of just, go through my journal, set it up a little bit, and then get ready with my day. And then we got practice. After practice, you got film. And then, after film, you got to get some extra lift work in, extra
Hmm.
O line technique. I'll get my mobility session before and after practice. I'm working my steps and my strikes and some the cuff progression, which is from tip of the spear. It's
Hmm.
coil, uncoil, fit, and finish. So I'm kind of just working that, working of being in working the explosion from the hips,
Hmm.
having the anchor ability, being able to generate force from the ground with my steps, and just building those neuromuscular patterns every day. Having the set tree, working my strikes, working the things that I see in the game of flow, having bungee cords, resistance bands on the ankles and the knees and the on the shoulders, and just working those different strikes and having bags and bag works and just going through that. And with the lifts and then with the O line technique, and then going back and through all that, making sure you're getting your lunch and your dinner and your breakfast and your snacks in between, and making sure it's whole food, nutrient dense foods, calculating those macronutrients. A lot of athletes on the team, it's hard because we wouldn't get like food necessarily be food vouchers, and the vouchers
Hmm.
would be for restaurants.
Hmm.
And so a lot of those restaurants, it's difficult to kind of get those good food. I got grilled chicken stuff, and so you make do. But yeah, and then you go through that, you hang out, watch more film, eat some dinner, and get another mobility session in, and that's kind of like a daily routine. And you go through that every day. You wake up and you just kind of get 1% better each day and reflect on each day and like, okay, how can I get better? What can I add to my routine? What are some goals that I need to enforce and able to get to where I want to be
Hmm.
on the field producing? Because it's production over potential. And so
Oh
you
yeah.
have to go out there, you have to produce, and you have to be prepared. proper preparation prevents poor performance.
My father-in-law calls that the 5 Ps, but he says piss
Yes,
poor
sir. 5
performance in there.
pillars. That's right.
Question for you. How many games a week do you guys play? Are you playing more than 1 game a week in the IFL?
Yep. It's just 1 week,
1
but it's
game
a
a week? Okay.
16-week season. Yep.
16-week
16 week
season, okay.
season.
So I was
There's a
wondering if you
couple
guys played
by
more than 1 game and how you like, the recovery rate of that is something that would be I know recovering after a game of football might take 2, 3, 4 days, sometimes 4 or
Oh,
5
yeah.
days to get your body back before you feel right, but 1 game a week, so
Sure.
that's kind of a normal routine. I hear in
Yeah.
your I hear you saying things and your attitude and how you're holding yourself on camera, your presence. It's like a very strong attitude of gratitude, which they say that's the most powerful feelings to have is the feeling of gratitude because it's something that you just do better, you do more, you're stronger when you do things with that attitude of gratitude. So it's kind of cool to hear you saying that and you're holding on for all you got, but you're thankful for everything that you have. And that's a really cool attitude that you're putting out there and kind of your disposition. I like that. It's fun to see that and hear that coming out of I say young guy, man. I don't mean to put you down or like, I don't think that is a negative thought at all. I'd say that I'm kind of an old crusty guy now. I never thought of myself that way, but to hear a young guy talking about an attitude of gratitude is cool because not everybody has a chance to do what you're doing and hey, it may not be the NFL, but that might be the end point for you. The end of the journey might end up there, and you're training yourself and prepping yourself for the job you
Sure.
want, not the job you have, and that's really cool to hear.
Appreciate that wholeheartedly. Yes, sir.
So, what was the biggest challenge you had on the field? What was something that you struggled with during those first couple games that you weren't expecting, or it was something that was new to you that you just didn't have an answer for, and you had to really focus in on prepping for that?
Yeah, so the mat was different. We're not wearing cleats. So it was
Mm,
like I was wearing like lacrosse cleats almost and the
mhm,
mat. So really being able to anchor down and gripping the ground with almost my boots or my cleats like you would in an outdoor game is different. And so I had to kind of learn to be able to anchor in that hop when sitting down. And so I would get pushed and pulled a lot. And then our jerseys were extremely loose. And so
mm,
they would grab my jersey and they would push and pull me through my jersey. And so I need to anchor down. When they pull me, I need to extend, turn it into a run block. And so I did better with that. I got better with that. And then it was also, staying square in pass pro, not opening up my hips, giving that two-way rush, two-way lane to the quarterback.
right.
And so just fixing those angles and making sure that I'm protecting my quarterback at all times.
Yeah, that's a good point to point out with the shoes and the anchoring, and I've always thought that when you can see a dude that can transfer the energy from his feet through his legs, up his torso, out his arms into the defender, he's gonna be a successful football player. And you always encounter guys as a coach, I'd encounter guys that couldn't transfer the weight from their feet out their body into the defender. And so, it's funny you say that because I never really thought about the importance of the shoe being the anchor point that helps you make that contact with the ground. So, you were
Yep.
struggling because you couldn't really you're playing on the, like, the hockey rink with turf down over the top of it. You don't wanna wear those cleats with studs in it. You're gonna wear a flatter shoe, so it's gonna be a much more, fr you gotta try to figure out how to create friction on your feet, right?
Yeah.
Did you have to do different feet angles in the shoes? Like, how did you counter that?
It was more of like, okay, it's this is the ground now. I gotta feel it out. I can feel it, and it was like a mat. So you think of like almost a mat or a rug, but
Mhm,
really like a thicker, tough rug, and it almost had some give to it a little bit, but it wasn't too much of a big difference. It was like, okay, I gotta switch my mind and understand that I don't have cleats on, so I'm probably gonna be taking a more of like a hop, 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 like you're going up the roller coaster, and it's every click is getting stronger.
mhm,
And so
mhm.
that it's same thing you would do with outside with the cleats. It's just gripping the ground with your cleats is just a little harder when it's not in those studs in the ground. You're bam, 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 with
Did you find yourself do you
that
have to
anchor.
flex your ankles more? Where you find yourself, like, with a stronger like, a more harsh angle on your ankles? Is that kinda how you would do it?
Yeah, it was that ankle mobility. I did a lot of ankle mobility, especially on that because I would roll my ankles
Mm,
all the time on there. But when you do so much ankle mobility, you strengthen your feet. You do a lot of barefoot O-line techniques and doing all the barefoot stuff before dynamic warm ups and even just getting your toes and your muscles all the way through your legs strengthened. And that ultimately helped. And so just strengthening those muscles that were weak, like even like what we were talking about with that the hip to hand power and the rotational strength. And a lot of it is the scapula. So it's not trying to punch. It's more of like I'm here and then I'm extending and
Hmm.
bringing it back. And that extension, like what Scott Peters talks about, that tip of the spear here is you're getting here, then you can get some extension. And then now they're trying to get under here. You can use a clog and clog your chest and bring all this under here. And he has so many counters and stuff that I've been studying over the years. And I want to continue just to keep perfecting it and keep
Hmm.
understanding and learning it. So I'm gonna start doing like leverage concept stuff like MMA, jujitsu, Muay Thai, like just even Brazilian jujitsu stuff and just throwing it in there because man, I love working out, I love training, I love watching film and just all the schematics of ball and just understanding all the things that go into training and becoming the best player that you can on the field, especially specific to an offensive lineman.
Yeah, it sounds like you're really leaving no stone unturned there to figure out how you can improve your game. It's really cool to see you focused on that and just searching for everything, incorporating everything you can that's going to make you better and putting an
Uh,
edge, continuously putting that edge on your game so that you go out there and you're sharp and you're focused and you are the tip of the spear. That's that's important to be that guy, right? Okay,
uh,
so as you guys are getting into the season, you're wearing down through the season. You play 16 games. You never played 16 games before. Did that take some toll on you? Were you mentally worn out, physically worn out, or were
no,
you able to handle that requirement pretty well?
yeah, so I did run into some lower back problems, and actually Valdir helped me with the plan. And so I was doing all of his in-season strength and conditioning program stuff and a lot of the mobility and stability, balance, explosion, the grip strength and the core stuff and all that stuff ties into the technique. And so when you're waking up in the morning, you're doing your technique, building those neuromuscular patterns, getting into the strength and conditioning, then getting back into watching film mentally because so I like to film my workouts too, even if I'm not going to post them because even when I'm watching Indo, especially like individual period when I'm working my technique, doing the rep and then watching the rep right after and then doing another one and then going back later that night watching my workout, see how I
Mhm.
train, see the minor tweaks and the ways that I was getting tired and how to improve on that and the next day because it's a mental rep in its own. It's like watching film when you're on the field out there. You do that with training as well. And so in season, that was a big part. I'm watching my practice film, I'm watching my game film. I'm training, I'm keeping all the areas of the soft tissue injuries, keeping up with that with the physical therapists and the trainers and doing all the extra stuff that I need to with recovery. Because I think recovery is everything. Sleep, getting that proper sleep and your mentality and how you carry yourself and what you choose to do, who you surround yourself with, the things that you feed your mind with is all comes into play with your emotions and why you think the way you do, why you act a certain way. And it's like, okay, I need to analyze myself, I have to have self-reflection and ultimately figure out the things that are holding me back and implement the things that are going to help me move me forward.
That's great, great self-awareness there, and a lot of folks don't have that, or a lot of folks don't realize how important that is, and it's a me or selfish approach to things, and you overlook those self-awareness aspects that are gonna help improve and put you in a position where you can be successful and go to that next level and achieve your goals that you're looking to achieve. Okay, next question. On the field, you're on the field, toughest thing you had to do last year? Toughest,
So
like
playing in Massachusetts Pirates, I played against
okay,
a guy who played, at Alabama. He was a big dude. It was an extremely tough opponent. Actually, there was 2 weeks that season I got I didn't dress. I didn't dress out. They brought in a CFL lineman, and he took my spot, and
huh,
that's how it was. That's what it was. And so the next 2 weeks, I sat the bench. And so finally, after that 2 weeks, towards the end of the season, I fought for my spot back, and I earned my spot back. And I finished out the season. That first game back, we played against Massachusetts Pirates, which we had a lot of back to back games, which were kind of weird. So we played Mass, and then we went to Vegas, and then we played Massachusetts again
hmm,
after that. And so I didn't go to the Massachusetts at home and then the Vegas game. And so that game we went to Massachusetts, it was an extremely tough opponent. They signed Tua's brother as quarterback. They always got some extremely high level profile athletes. And so coming in with the game plan there, guys got played at Bama. He's moving different. He's coming off the ball different on film. I can just see, I can tell. And so I gotta understand, all right, they're bulk boarding. He's gonna use his his swipes. He's going to use his chop club, his ribs. He's going to do his power, speed to power, whatever. But I've studied. I know his moves. I know what he's going to use, and so I got to get my hands on him now. If I see chest, I'm going to take chest. If he's trying to bend, now I'm going to have to get my outside pillar and pop his hip and refit back inside. And when he makes an inside move, I ain't afraid of the inside move. I'm a pillar, clamp, and then double under, and my footwork is there all day. As long as I stay square, like you're not getting to the quarterback in that deal. It's such a quick game. It's even faster sometimes than 3 seconds. It's like 1-2, ball's thrown. He takes 2 steps on the second step. Like Nate Davis for the San Diego Strike Force, he gets that ball out. It's 1-2, gone. So they're doing a lot of RPO screens. They're doing a lot of tagging stuff. But that's kind of just the game, and that was that process of going against that guy was just constantly responding to what he's doing, figuring out, going through it, and then even that first game against the Ole Miss guy was like, okay, he's hitting me with kind of a finesse. He's checking me out. He's feeling me out, and then he's going speed to power. And so from his finesse, I figured that out. I sat that down, speed to power, and now from his speed to power, he's kind of implementing both, and he started pushing and pulling. And so I'm like, okay, I need to anchor down. I need to sit down and be patient, look for my aiming points and my strike targets, and just play ball. And ultimately, keep striking that sword, swinging that sword, throw some other stuffs at him that he hasn't seen, switch up the sets, switch up the strikes, and just keep my eyes on that target. Like it's like what Jim McNally says, you got to have straight up bug eyes looking at your target, like you're there.
Yeah.
You're seeing your aiming point, and you strike the surface he gives you. So if he's coming here, boom, that's your surface. He's giving you see chest, take chest. Now he's coming inside. There's always the 2 points of leverage in your hands. And so if it's boom here, here, whatever those
Yeah.
2 points of leverage are, and then even in your feet as well. And it's like what Scott Peters talks about, the arc bridge. Each points of your feet on the two, when you're hopping back, you're creating that anchor ability. You're creating the arc bridge, and then the slight arch in your back when you're getting into that anchor position is that the ultimate bridge part. And then the two
Mhm.
anchor points are your feet. And so that anchor ability, the 2 point coil, and just the leverage concepts. And I've been so intrigued by studying those things. And so it's been awesome learning and continuing to learn more and just absorbing as much knowledge as I can. My grandma says be like a sponge.
Yeah, that's good advice by grandma. She must have been a heck of a football player. I noticed the, Massachusetts Pirates are down here in Orlando now, so you come
Yeah,
down
yep.
here to Orlando, that's only a couple hours away from me here.
Yes,
Might be able
sir.
to get up there and catch a Barnstormers
Yep.
Pirates game up in downtown Orlando there. That's pretty cool.
Alrighty, yes, sir.
So I was watching something yesterday, I think, maybe it might have been this afternoon, sometime on social media, and they were talking about it was offensive line coach talking about when the guy comes at you and shows you a shoulder, it's a one hand strike. That's when you're striking with the one
Mhm.
hand. And when he gives you the chest, that's a
Yeah.
two-hand strike. And so he was just doing a drill where the guy was rotating shoulder in, shoulder out, shoulder in, shoulder in, shoulder out, like just conjunction the guy that he was going against. And I thought that was a pretty cool drill. And I'd never really thought about it that way as far as if they give you that shoulder, just use that one punch, and if they give you the chest, then you
Yeah.
go ahead and use the two punch.
Yes, sir.
All right. So as you're studying these guys, you got some pretty accomplished collegiate level talent coming at you, and so you got to kind of buckle down and really focus and be on your game, especially if you want to win that job back, which you did. And congratulations on that. That's awesome that you didn't take your ball and go home. You didn't feel bad. Coach insulted me or disrespected me or whatever. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is you want your job back. So you figured out what it was, diagnosed, put out a plan of action, and went ahead and got it back. That's awesome, man. You said bad season, man. 1-15. That's tough. I've been through a couple of those as a coach early in my career. There's nothing worse than not winning, doing all that hard work and not winning. How are you guys gonna approach it this year? How are you gonna change the Barnstormers' fortunes this year so that we get more than one win out of you guys?
Yep. Yes, sir. It's all about culture. It's all about a band of brothers, a brotherhood. You got all 21 guys, well, out indoor 21 on the field, 8-on-8 indoor. So you got those 16, 25-man roster. If everyone believes that we're going to go out there and win a championship, we're going to win the championship. If all 11 guys know they're going to go out there and block the kick to win the game, they're going to block it. That's what
Mm.
happened to my little brother's team. Round Rock High School versus Vandergrift hit down here in Texas. They could have won the game by kicking the field goal, and Vandergrift blocked it. And you could just see the demeanor. You can see it. And it's the same thing as reading linebackers. You see the depth in the demeanor. Same thing with reading defensive line. You see they're on different levels. You understand that the penetrator and the looper. You see this guy's tilted. He's on the ball. He has more weight on his hands, and the outside DN is off the ball a little bit. And he's backed up. Oh,
Mhm.
he's the looper. He's the penetrator. Twist, twist, twist. I'm communicating that. And so that's ultimately kind of where that
Different talent coming in for you guys, or when is the camp happening for you guys? When does all that kind of stuff shake out on the timeline for
yeah.
the Barnstormers?
So March, we'll have training camp in March. Go in there, 30 days. Usually you compete, bring in maybe 50 guys, I'm sure, and it knocks down to about 25. Some
Mhm.
can't, some guys maybe even bring in less, but you go in there, you compete, you do what you got to do to understand the playbook and figure out the teammates and go in there and get ready for a season of ball. And
Yeah.
so, we brought in a new head coach. And so, I'm excited for him. I'm excited for the team. We've re-signed some similar guys from last year, and so the guys that we can bring back that are whoever we really can. I believe wholeheartedly that we had some excellent talent last year, and it's just about responding to that season and being the
Mm.
best that we all can. And if we can get some guys that have chemistry, I think that's awesome because when you got that chip on your shoulder from going 1-15, it's like, oh man, I'm not doing that again. So I don't care whatever it is, whatever we got to do to win and fight, like let's do it. And so that's a response mentality. You got to fall to rise, and when you fall, like you can't. What are we gonna go? I mean, 1-15 again, but you might go not win any game. In college, I went 3-8, and then we went 2-9, and so it's been tough, but it's not about your wins and ultimately even your losses. Champions aren't defined by their successes, but how they
Mm.
bounce back from their failures.
Excellent. Well, that's a big challenge to overcome a 1-15 season, but I can't help but think that your positive attitude and your approach is going to rub off on folks. And if everybody's got the same mindset and the same approach that you're taking, I can't imagine that you guys aren't going to be successful. Just pushing and like I said, the attitude of gratitude and having goals set out and being pursuing to just starve for success. That's a good recipe to have going into a season for sure. Going into the specifics now, what's the one specific offensive line skill that you think is the most important to develop for an offensive lineman?
Yeah, so anchorability, I believe generating force through your hips because even in leverage concepts, all force comes through the hips. And so that
Mhm.
anchorability, be able to anchor down in position with bent knees, staying in in that anchorability with that arc strength, because our arc strength is important. Being able to stay coiled, have your base, have your aiming points and your points of contact where your hand goes, your hand leverage and your feet leverage. And so I think understanding the schematics of football, if you know all five positions on the O line, you'll be able to dissect everything. Okay, I know this run scheme. I know this pass protection. I know the launch point of the quarterback, and I know the aiming point of the running back in the run play. And so I know where the play is going. I know what techniques the guys around me are using, and I can box everything up. I can pot everything up. I can see, all right, these two for these two. This guy's man up here. These two back here for these two. And now I got a tight end who's on that play side, he's going there. And if you got a fullback in there, whatever it is, if you're in 6-man protection, 7-man protection, where you're adding a tight end and a running back or whatever it is, if it's empty protection, understanding twist pickup. So the schematics of the game, understanding all five positions, the X's and O's, and then that anchor ability and arc strength, I think
Mhm.
is extremely important.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Knowing where everything's coming from and then having that ability to be prepared for what shows or kind of anticipate, kind of like you were talking about, knowing, watching the defensive line, seeing the white knuckles he's got because he's got all the weight leaning forward in that stance.
Yep.
He's going forward. And the other guy's kind of got a little less white in his knuckles. He's a little bit more off the ball. Those are cues and hints. I'd always tell my guys to check the feet of the linebackers. If the backer's staggered, he's coming forward. There's a blitz coming. It could be a slight stagger, but most guys in the high school level, they're going to stagger those stance so they can get a better running start to come down on that blitz. But I love hearing things like that. Those just being aware, being a student of the game and studying and knowing what is coming based on the tip offs that people are given. That's a great skill set to develop right there. Okay, say what's your best drill, your favorite drill to do out there on the field? Individual, like coach says, "Hey, we're doing this." And you're like, "Yes, that's my favorite one."
Probably, I mean, I love combos. I love working
Mm,
combos. I love working that rocker step, that pick up, put down, jab crotch, where I'm just boom, boom, shoulder spear and lifting him up, and then him being able to take him over or getting into pretty much med ball pass pro. Like that's just something I love to do. I do it all day, every day, pretty much just getting that pass pro and just boom, punch the med ball. So
mhm.
those are something I love to do, and then just working your footwork and your punch timing.
On that combo, when you're working that combo block with your guy next to you, and whether you're coming off or he's coming off, let's say in this
Yeah.
situation, you're coming off to the second level, you're going to that linebacker. Backer crosses your face. Are you backside numbering him? What do you do when that guy has the leverage? You're a little slow getting off the down man, and you get to that second level and he's crossed your face. He's broken your leverage point, he's crossed your nose. What are you doing there on the field to gain that leverage back?
Yeah, so once I hit that jab crotch, I lift him up, my guy takes him over, I'm snapping off, and essentially, depending on his angle of departure, or if it's a wide zone play, then I definitely wanna get my hat play side and run him, even keep that backside hand to the sternum of the defender and keep this hand free just in case he wants to bump me off, but if we can both lift this guy up and get him into the lap of that linebacker, that's ultimately the
Mm,
best thing to do, in my opinion.
yeah,
But if it's inside zone and he's flowing, then yeah, then I'm just gonna stick my hat right in his sternum and keep that kind of hat play side hat inside leverage and then and drive him.
got it. I was watching your highlights from your rookie season, and I enjoyed watching you shove a couple guys into the wall over there, into the hockey boards. Saw that happen a couple times. That
Yeah.
was that was cool to watch. So
Yes,
that
sir.
combo block is important, particularly on the indoor league, because you have to get up there to that next level. That's with the
Yep.
only three linemen there. You don't have somebody coming from the outside to help you out there to kind of seal that in. You are the outside as a guard.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Wow, I didn't I like, as a coach, I'm thinking of the different aspects of the difference between having 11 guys and having 5 linemen and a tight end potentially, and not having that guy out there to help with double team blocking, establish a point of attack. It's much more difficult a job, and it makes those combo blocks even that much more important because you got that 2-on-1. You have to win that. You have to push that guy back into the lap.
It was a lot of, like, speed option, crack toss,
Mm,
midline, like, zone, so it's like zone read, you're reading that backside DN, so me in the center would combo to the Mike linebacker. I believe the rule is when you get into the red zone area, you can have 2 people in the box at that point, and
mm,
so but whoever's gonna blitz has to raise their hand and tell the official,
right.
and so, other than that, it's always one backer you're working up to, whether it's midline, whether it's mid zone, wide zone, split zone, zone read, crack toss, speed option. Because I mean, that's really there's you can do a lot in arena, but there's only 3 down linemen, so
Yeah.
it's like pin and pull scheme.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like the crack tosses. I was gonna equate that to like a pin and pull because you got out there on the edge and used your athleticism out there a couple times, picking on the little
Yep,
guys out
yes, sir.
on the perimeter. It's always fun. I love watching big linemen come out and step on the defensive backs. That's always one of my favorite things to watch. Okay, so we talk about your favorite drill. What's a drill that's just overrated? Doesn't really pay out the way you think it should, or coaches are constantly banging on this drill. We got to do this, and you just don't see the value in it. Do you have anything like that comes to mind?
So my high school and JUCO, we did a lot of like the full 5-man sleds. And me personally, I think those sleds are good for like conditioning and getting all 5 guys working in unison. But when you're not gonna ever block a guy like this. Like it's the same thing with the hand shields. Like a lot of the times you're not block guys like this. You're gonna get your hand and find your fit. Like a lot of the guys teach strike and lift. And so it's like these are meat hooks and you want to hook the ribs, strike and lift with your legs and with your
Hmm.
hips. And so even a lot of bag work sometimes, like the blast shield from the tip of the spear training, he has that groove in the shield where your hand is ready for a fit, kind of where those torque wheels are.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so I feel like sometimes that takes away the flaring of the elbows and keeping those elbows inside the frame of the body and being able to strike with your pillar and that instead of
Yeah.
striking here. Because you strike here, you got all this area under to be able to get lifted, to get chopped and swiped, and you're just not strong when you're inside the frame of your body.
Yeah, I always wanted thumbs up. You get no thumbs level or thumbs down, that's your compression, man. You got a shock absorber there for an
Exactly.
elbow, that's not gonna work well, but that thumb up, it's hard. I've never seen anybody snap their arm the wrong way out on the football field when they're blocking like this. I've never seen those elbows go up and go the wrong way, so I felt we were always stronger thumbs up and emphasizing that for sure. All right, we got the 5-man sled and, poor you poor guys in the IFL, you can't even drive the 5-man sled. You guys you'd be
Yeah.
you just be going in circles there on the field.
That's like college, man. College life, college fall camp. That's what that is.
Yes, I always liked it. I did see the merit in having guys run through contact. That was the one thing with the sled for me. I always wanted them to hit that sled so
Yeah.
they could feel the pressure and then have to drive their feet through contact and just like run into a defensive player at some point. But I do see I agree with you that it doesn't necessarily mimic a full-fledged in life drive block because the way the sled's built, it is some drawback to it. I agree with you there. That's a good point. All right, so as we get close to the end here, this is my favorite part of the conversation we have because the offensive linemen are characters, and you've had the opportunity to be in a couple different places, and at this professional level, I can only imagine that the bigger the character, the higher they advance. I think through the ranks of football players. So, do you have a story, two, three stories, or people that you think back and reflect back on that were just absolute? No matter what they were going to say, it was going to have you in stitches because they were just funny dudes.
And so back in 2021, we were at the Kurt Warner movie, American
Yeah.
Underdog set, and we were working around guys like Dennis Quaid, Zachary Levi, and Paquin. She was there. She was around. Me and my older brother and this other big B, Brandon Murphy. He's big old dude. He's like 6'8", 330. A funny guy. Like we're always talking about going to get groceries and get steaks and talking about big old steaks. And our goal was to get Dennis Quaid and Zachary Levi and all them to say big steaks for us. Cause we would look at it and be like, big old steaks. And we just get us some ribeye, go get us some good steaks after those scenes and whatnot. Cause it was long days of
Oh yeah.
filming. We'd film for 16 hours and we want to eat good. So we'd go to Texas Roadhouse, we'd go to Longhorn Steakhouse and get some good grub. And so, man, just being around characters like that. I met Jordan Mosley at that movie as well. Me and him were always joking around, and my brothers as well. So it was a great time, a great experience, just to meet guys like that, be around guys like that. And there's always guys you found in the O line brotherhood community is always there, especially with whatever team you're being, or even just how we connected through social media
Yeah.
and just talking ball and sharing the knowledge that we have with each other.
Love it. Any superstitions? Do you have any superstitions
Nah.
for game day or anything like that or prepping?
Nah, no, sir. I wouldn't say superstitions. I mean, I have my game day routines. I gotta sit in the empty stadium. I gotta sit there and reflect and put my headphones in and kind of just watch some film, watch some stuff, and just go out there and get some mobility stretch, activation stuff, and get ready for the game and put my mind in that mode. I
Hmm.
mean, I like to treat every day like it's game day, and essentially everything I do give that relentless effort regardless of what it is, because that same feeling of when you get beat on the field, you got to remember that when you're waking up and you don't want to get up and you don't want to go do an extra workout or do your mobility session or thinking about skipping reps. It's like there's no bargains. I got to chase this dream and I got to give it all that I have and be all that I am. And I
Yeah.
think that's most ultimately what's most important is you're not in competition with others. It's just about doing the best that you can and staying on your train tracks of life.
And getting up at 4:47.
Yes, sir. That's right. Or
Um,
507.
what's your pregame music? What's your go-to pregame music?
Man, I listen to all types of music pregame. I'm listening to hip hop and rap. I'm listening to some like R&B, some heavy metal, some rock, like some country. Like I'll throw it all in there. Just I like some, songs that'll kind of raise the hair on my skin, give me some goosebumps, kind of make me think about the grind, like maybe some rocky music in there, like motivational videos, kind of stuff that I watched at like my lowest points or listen. Like sometimes certain music can bring you back to a certain emotion or certain
Mhm.
feeling in the past. So it's like, okay, I remember I used to listen to this song before every JUCO game or listen to this playlist. So I want to kind of put myself back in that mode again and just remember my why. You know, you live by
Yeah.
perseverance, accountability, be intentional, and remember your why. And what you do is important, and who you do it for.
Do you don't listen to the same song right before game time every game? There's a different ones every
I
time?
mean, nah, I definitely always got some stuff like that saved in my playlist.
Well,
Definitely got to get the
what's the
Rocky.
last one? You got a big game. You're going to see this guy from Alabama. What do you hit and play on there? I want to get to the bottom of this here.
Hey,
I need to know.
I'm throwing the Rocky motivational
Oh,
video.
okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I bet you a lot of dudes
What's his
listen to
name?
that.
Oh yeah. What was Rocky's trainer's name? I don't know why I can't think of it right now, top of my head. Paulie.
Like
Was it Paulie?
Paulie. Yeah, Paulie.
Yeah, Paulie. He was telling him, just giving him motivation, and man, that movie Rocky, that series, one of my favorite series of all time.
But yeah, you gotta love the underdog. I'll tell you mine. I was Bon Jovi, "Living on a Prayer." That was
Oh
the
yeah.
that was the last song that I'd be listening to back, of course, this is late '80s, early '90s, back in the day when I had 2 knees and a back.
It's
That was probably definitely the last song that was going down before we headed out of the locker room, and,
oh yeah.
sometimes it was, autobiographical there. I was living on a prayer. I went back to my alma mater this weekend, and I don't know that I'd be able to play football there anymore. The dudes walking around looked like they'd been juiced with Monster genes or something, man. I was the shortest, smallest guy there by far. So I would have been living on a prayer had I made it back to William and Mary nowadays to play. So that's something for sure. Well, Tyler, I appreciate you, man. I'm so excited. I can't wait to follow the Barnstormers this year and check you out and see what's going on.
Sure.
Give me your Instagram thing again in case anybody wants to go see that rookie season highlight tape that I got a chance to gander at this afternoon.
Yeah, yes, sir. It's O-line 70 T-cast, and so you can find me on there. That's pretty much all my social, TikTok, Twitter, X now, and so YouTube. I do as much as I can. I stuff that I learn and film, I tried to post and just give some knowledge out there and learn knowledge, because I know what you put on your feed, you also see that some of that similar stuff, and so I
Yeah,
wanted to kind of do some research out there, see who's putting themselves out there, who's studying, who's doing what, and so gaining knowledge, learning knowledge, sharing knowledge. I think that's the biggest part. How we ultimately can come together, grow, and just change the game however we can.
that's phenomenal. Well, if you're a young offensive lineman out there and you need somebody to follow and you need a path or a game plan or some sort of practice schedule to look at, check out Tyler's Instagram stuff because he's got a bunch of information on there. And if you listen to how he's talking here, no doubt he's following it and it's going to pay off and give him some dividends here in the future. And I can't wait to see how that works for him. And so again, Tyler, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed it, dude. You were technical, and that makes the hair stand on the back of my neck because there's nothing like having a technical offensive lineman who's motivated and strong, because that's a deadly combination up front for sure. And like I said, good luck
Sir,
to you guys in the Barnstormers this year. And remember, if you master the trench, you'll win the war.
sir, I love it. Appreciate you.
Hope you're enjoying Trenchometry. Assuming that you are, please hit that like button and subscribe. Remember, master the trench, you win the war.